Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Let's go, puta.
Find us on all the social media things that you follow, which I'm sure we've made all of them somehow. What else? What's all going on? Let's talk about news and stuff and whatnot. The Oscar ratings fell by 9%. They were down this year, Jeff.
I blame Conan. No, I actually blame Timothy Chalamet. Everybody's over Chalamated.
Is that what it is?
No, I blame Timmy.
I don't know what to blame it on. I don't really know what to make of it, honestly, and what to say. Why people weren't as interested. I mean, there were a couple of pretty big blockbusters, and Conan is well loved. I didn't think there was really that much competition out there in terms of other things to watch, so it's kind of surprising.
Are they just doing it through ABC, or are they doing it through other places to watch? Because you could watch it on ABC, you could watch it on Hulu, you could watch it on YouTube, you could watch it, like all these places. I just wonder if that has anything to do with it.
I'm imagining just from this being an AP headline, I'm imagining they're going with the regular ratings. So yeah, you might be right. Maybe people were just watching it on the alternatives and they haven't really factored those in.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they had this many platforms last year. I mean, I know in recent years I've struggled to be able to watch the Oscars, trying to find a place to watch the Oscars because they were still on network television.
And nobody has.
When I was living in Illinois, even with an antenna, I could hardly get any local channels. I was in a dead zone, and I would have to find a place to go to watch, big events like the Oscars, the World Series, that kind of stuff. And that's what I did up until, obviously a couple of years ago, I moved back to the Quad Cities, and now I can find anything on locally, generally speaking. But I'm also one of those who watched the Oscars on Hulu.
Yeah, and digital antennas are kind of a joke. I'm just going to say it, because they don't always pick up anything, and then when they do, they're like spotty, and it's just not the same as like actual broadcast TV. So
it's true. I mean, they basically on the box will tell you good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe if you point it in just the right direction, you might maybe get something.
And no cars go by, or no planes go overhead, or no satellites ever.
And the weather holds up.
Yeah.
The wind is blowing in the right direction.
Yep. So silly.
Have you seen the trailer for Moana?
I've seen photos of The Rock from the trailer, but I have not watched the actual trailer because I've never actually seen Moana.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, Moana. The two animated films are actually both pretty good, but I don't know why they're already making a live action Moana. That seems a very weird choice. Just considering that Moana's not that old, like less than a decade ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's not that long ago that we were. I mean, it's so short a time ago that The Rock is perfectly capable of playing this character still in a live action form. Like,
well,
but it doesn't look good. I don't think this looks good at all. I think it's a pretty ugly looking transfer. From animation to live action. Mostly I'm hung up on the necessity of it. I don't see any necessity of it. It just feels like the biggest possible cash grab imaginable. But then you take a look at it and it's like some of the choices that they've made just don't look right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've seen pictures of The Rock as Maui. And for one thing, he did the voice, he sang, he was really good. I heard, I every day at my soon to be old job, I hear him singing at least 2 or 3 times a day, because there's a Disney store right next to my section. And I saw the pictures of him. I'm like, that doesn't look like Maui. It just doesn't. It's like he's got like the wrong hair. He's muscular. He's basically, I think his ego wouldn't let him let somebody else play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his
Yeah, I can
ego wouldn't
definitely
let him
sense that.
have the hair. So, because he's got that like long, beautiful Farrah hair.
That just does not look right on him at
No,
all.
it doesn't. It
It
doesn't. He
just
looks like
doesn't
he's
fit.
trying to be Jason Momoa
Who
undergoing
probably should
gender
have played this
reassignment.
role.
He would have, yeah. But there's like there's a guy who was on The Walking Dead who's a kind of chubbier guy, and people were pointing him out, and I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, he'd be good.
Every one of
Just
these pictures of the Rock, I know it's him, but they all look AI generated to me.
yeah,
I know.
you're not wrong.
I mean, and it's just kind of hard to see any of this look good. Also, with this goddamn wig, they're on an ocean and underwater a lot. How are you going to make this fucking wig work like this? I don't understand that.
He carries around a blow dryer and a
Here's,
stylist.
here's my proposal, Jeff. We just fucking skip this shit.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not.
I don't see a necessity for that. Like we covered Moana when it came out, so no, there's no real reason to. There's not really a good enough reason to do that.
I just, these movies are nothing more than a cash grab.
Absolutely. It didn't start
There's,
out that way. I don't feel like it started out that way. I think when Disney did Cinderella, that was a hell of a good movie. They did a great
mhm,
job turning that into a live action film. They didn't get enough credit, honestly, for that. But everything since then, all that Lion King bullshit was just garbage. The Jungle Book was garbage. Um, they just it's disrespectful, honestly, to the animated legends. And I don't think
yeah,
I honestly, not to speak for Walt Disney, and I know he wasn't a great person, but I don't think he would have gone for this.
no, no. I think this is. I get like when they started doing them, and everybody was saying it's a cash grab. They were like, well, we want to appeal to modern audiences who might not want to go see um an animated film. And I mean, let's be realistic. They are really playing to the nostalgia of it. Um, it's like if they made an animated version of Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's kind of the opposite of that, and it's
Don't give him
just
ideas.
shut up, yeah, shut up, Jeff, shut up. Um, but I feel like it saying it's a cash grab is easy, but it is because what are they really? There's no, I guess, art to it the way there's an art to the animation, and they do the animation, or they've done the animation as long as Disney's been a studio. And I feel like, yes, okay, an updated live action Snow White the movie's almost 100 years old.
Right.
Yeah, sure, okay, I get that. The animation on those really old movies is still incredible, and so I can't see reanimating it, so to speak. Um,
But yeah,
but
during the 80s, though, what they're the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they would take them off the market for a while and then put them out in theaters, and they do well, and they did that very successfully. And given the fact of the box office in the last couple Lion King movies, like I think if you had just put the Lion King out animated
mhm,
and put a huge marketing campaign behind it, I think people would have gone to see that just as much.
yeah, yeah,
Because the Lion King movies that they've made have just been, I mean, they're basically animated films anyway, which is really makes them just
right,
that much more
yeah,
redundant. Um, but honestly, like they've not been very good, and they've not even come near, the original animated feature. I think just pull your movies off of your own streaming service, hide them in a vault like you did in the 80s for a while,
mhm.
and then put it back out in theaters with a huge splashy campaign and say, now you can see them for a while.
Yeah, and then bring them back to Disney Plus for a year or two or whatever.
and then disappear him again and wait
yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. I mean, remember when, like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White and stuff were an event? When they, it was such a bit, I get to go see Lady and the Tramp in the theater. That's like great. I was a little kid and I desperately wanted to see that movie in the theater, and it was sold out when we went to see it. But I think if that came to the theater, I might actually go see it because it's something I always wanted to see.
When they put Pinocchio back in theaters, I think it was 87. It was competitive with what was in theaters at the time because nobody had seen Pinocchio in 10 years.
But now, like I really want them to do that, but I don't think that they will, just because.
No, I don't think anybody working at Disney today even has any memory of that.
Yeah, I don't think they even give a shit.
Yeah, no, there is that. I mean, considering The Lion King's Moana, Jungle Book, it's clear they don't give a fuck.
It's like IP. So I don't know. This looks like a cash grab. It feels like a cash grab. I have no interest in seeing it.
It looks like shit and smells like shit. It's hard to imagine it's not shit.
Right? You're always saying, hey, you're always saying if I can't go see a movie, it's no big deal. We'll just talk about it. And I feel like if you had decided to, review that one for the show, I would have been like, oh gosh, I couldn't go. I had to work. And just let you believe that I really wanted to see it.
Have you heard that Val Kilmer is being resurrected
my God.
AI?
Fucking fuck. I mean,
he's going to posthumously appear in a movie that I guess he was making this around the time that he died, or not the time he died, the time he lost his voice. At the time that he first lost his voice, he was making a movie, and they had to stop making it because he couldn't speak anymore. And then they've decided, hey, let's use AI to finish it, and it's like, oh my God, fuck right the fuck off.
I just feel like unless he specifically signed off on it, then no. If he said, hey, I can't do this anymore, if he put out a statement before he died, I can't do this anymore, but I really want it to be out there, maybe, but it's still gross. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't stand this idea. I can't stand the notion of it. It's so disgusting to me. Just the idea that an AI could bring back dead celebrities is just it's opening a door that should not be opened.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be because you're going to end up with like Paul Walker returning in full to a Fast and the Furious movie. Like that's just like just trash like that. Not that's, I mean, that's trash anyway, but I mean, but like there are other actors out there who are, Carrie Fisher's coming back now. Like, no, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Oh God. It opens up too many doors. And it's interesting because this weekend, one of the new movies being released this weekend is an AI documentary made by some of the top documentarians in the world. So examining AI and likely what is wrong with it. AI is it's just awful. It's the worst thing ever. And stop using it. Stop doing things with it. If you can, just, don't use it. Especially for creative stuff. It's just not, you're not bringing back Val Kilmer. You're not. It's not, he's dead. He's gone. He's a human being who will never exist again. And this is gross and weird. And I won't watch it. I will not watch it.
Yeah, I won't either. We have a very strong anti-AI stance on the show.
Absolutely. That's just, it's just so gross. Valerie Perrine passed away. Tell people about her.
She was, pretty. She was part of the '70s wave of actors who, really came about in that era where everything was kind of a little grittier. She was part of that group. The Jack Nicholsons and Gene Hackmans and Robert Duvall's. She probably best known to Gen X as Tess Schumacher in the Star Wars Superman movies with Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman. That's where I particularly knew her from. But she'd done other stuff, and um, she's declined over the last few years, like many of the actors of her generation, and left the spotlight. And she passed away on Monday or Sunday. So yeah,
Also, Chuck Norris passed away.
oh, okay.
I don't know what else to say about that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, I guess he's into his 1,000 Years of Darkness era. Yeah, he was homophobic, racist, transphobe. So whatever.
Yeah.
Don't care.
See ya. Anything else you want to talk about? The box office was big.
Was that? I haven't had a chance to look. I'm burning the candle at both ends, and I just lit the middle.
Project Hail Mary brought in over $80 million at the domestic box office, and like something around $130 million worldwide.
Wow, that's actually pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's like bringing back the box office, bringing back the original ideas.
Are movies
Because
back?
Project Hail Mary, huh?
Are movies
Yeah,
back?
exactly. Man, I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Keep movie theaters alive, please, please. Project Hail Mary is a Lord and Miller picture. It stars Ryan Gosling as a middle school science teacher with a background that is not immediately evident. He actually was a well-respected scientist until he wrote a paper that got him laughed out of his profession. Essentially, he wrote a paper that was very off the wall, and people stopped listening to him, and he couldn't get work anymore. So he became a middle school teacher. But when something starts happening in the sky with the stars, and specifically the sun, his paper catches the eye of Sandra, who's heading up an international group that's going to try and solve this issue with the sun potentially dying. She ends up teaming up with him and coming up with a rather workable solution to try and save the universe, but it ends up involving him having to go to space, something that he wasn't necessarily to do. In space, he ends up meeting an alien named Rocky and forming a bond that helps them work towards saving the world. This is a very basic plot. It's a very smart bit of sci-fi and just a wildly entertaining movie. Ryan Gosling is just so winning. It takes a great actor to be able to do as much as he's doing by himself. We were actually talking about this last week with Undertone, where nothing against that actress. I don't want to call her out. She was having to act opposite no one, and that's not an easy thing to do, especially if you're somebody who's not been the lead in a feature film very often. It takes a movie star to hold that center, and Ryan Gosling is unquestionably a movie star. He has a natural comfort on screen. The camera just wants to find where he is and see what he's doing. It seems it's just one of those things that the natural movie star has, is that ability, and he has it. He has it in spades, and he's just incredible throughout this movie. On top of which, just the plot is so cleverly put together. We start in space with him waking up from an induced coma. Far out into space, not knowing where he is, not really knowing how he got there, and having to find his way after he finds out that the two astronauts who are with him didn't make it. They've died on the trip, so he's got to do all of this on his own. Until he meets Rocky, of course. Rocky finds him. They find each other at the same star because there's one star in the universe that isn't dying, and they're trying to figure out why. And that may be the key to the whole plot. Again, like I said, there's just so many basic elements to this, and everything around those basic elements just elevates those basic elements. And that's really when you're looking at things, when people complain about something being unoriginal, it's not often so much as that it's unoriginal. It's just that they've taken something familiar and just kept it as familiar as possible instead of elevating it. This takes a very simple premise: we're saving the universe, and just elevates it with good dialogue, with great characters, with this wonderful bond between Rocky and Grace that builds in a fashion that's quick but also logical within the storytelling. I think Lord and Miller did just such a great job of taking what could have been something kind of hopeless and hollow and giving it a life that it otherwise wouldn't have, which is kind of their style of direction, is to take something that way and look at it just a slightly different way. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, the main thing that kind of broke my heart about this movie was like, this could have been Solo. What, like, their Solo could have been fucking amazing. That's kind of one of the things. That's only one of the things I came away. I came away just incredibly entertained and engaged by this movie, but that thought was in my head, like, man, their Solo could have been very, very good.
I just a really quick aside before I talk about Project Hail Mary. Their Solo movie was apparently a more of a broad comedy, and you get a few little like hints of that in the movie, but apparently it was pretty much a very broad comedy that didn't really work. So they had to make it more of a space fantasy. That's apparently the only reason, because they were kind of given a directive. This is what we want to make. They said, this is what we're planning on making. And then they kind of went off and did their thing, which would have been fine with me. I think there's room for like literally every genre in Star Wars, but this is so close to the source material. I just listened to this book in January. When I saw the first trailer for this, I'm like, oh, I enjoyed The Martian, and I enjoy the way Andy Weir writes. So I listened to this, and it is very close to source material without getting really into the weeds of the science of it, because the book is very science heavy. Andy Weir does that incredibly well, and I think some directors are able to translate that on screen, like with The Martian. I don't think the science behind all this and would have been a 4-hour movie, honestly. And I think that it was already almost a 3-hour movie that I didn't expect. I went to see it after both of my jobs yesterday, and I was like, oh, I should get out of here by 8 o'clock. Nope, it was 9 o'clock by the time I got home. There's a sequence towards the end of the movie that really it's kind of like a catastrophe that happens. And in the book, if that was filmed in the book where he was explaining all the science and everything to it, this movie would have been 4 hours long. So I'm glad you got exactly what you needed from the what was happening and what the reason Ryan Gosling has to choose to do what he was doing. And I applaud that big time, because you didn't need all of that like minutia for this story. This is really a very basic story about, it's like a buddy cop movie, but in space. And I never pictured Rocky when I was listening to it. I just never, I was like, I never pictured him looking like a crab, basically. And the physicality of it was kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, he's like incredibly expressive. Now there is a much longer sequence in the book that I think really kind of wasn't done as good a justice about how he came up with the language and how they were, because the movie shorthand, it's kind of like, he does a couple things and then it just like automatically translates it, whatever. But that was the only thing I was looking forward to that wasn't in the movie. I thought everybody in the cast was really well done. I was sad that we didn't get to see Ken Leung, because I like him a lot.
Mm.
I really enjoyed it, and it didn't seem as long as it was, which when I got out and I realized it was almost 9 o'clock, I was like, oh shit, I didn't really think it was that long. The people that were in the theater with me really seemed to be enjoying it. Um, a couple, the laughs were in the right place. Um, the downtime was good just when you needed it. The visuals were stunning. Uh, the planet, it was just amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really, I in a way, I wish that some of this had gotten into Solo. I wish they'd, kind of collaborated with Ron Howard. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was such a good adaptation of the book. If you're a fan of the book at all, this is probably exactly what you need.
So I don't know anything about the book, but I know the movie was incredible, and Rocky especially is such a great creation.
Mhm.
It's a puppet.
Yeah.
People are, it's like you might assume that this is some CGI. Maybe there is some CGI involved, but he's a puppet.
Mhm.
And the way he's puppeteered is spectacular. It's absolutely incredibly done. How expressive this is, considering like the Rocky doesn't like have eyes that you can make out, like they
Mhm.
didn't like or hands or anything, and they still managed to make him expressive physically on screen. It's just really really impressive, and a lot of people have kind of compared this to the Spirit of Spielberg, and I can definitely feel that.
No, yeah, yeah. You definitely know who influenced Lord Miller. It
The
was
awe and the wonder, like that he's always done so incredibly well. Although, did you see the trailer for The Disclosure Day?
I saw part of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
I'm fascinated because I was just a tangent, but the trailer seems just the way it hits. It's almost like he's talking about the Epstein files as opposed to aliens.
Ooh.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah, watch the trailer with that perspective and tell me what you think. But I kind of like, is he talking about the Epstein files?
yeah, I'm I'm back and forth about Ryan Gosling, to
Mhm,
be perfectly frank. He just it's like he doesn't it's sometimes I feel like he's the coolest guy in the universe because he doesn't have to try to be. And sometimes I feel like he is trying to be the coolest guy in the universe, and that's when it doesn't work for me. But he just he had this charm in this one that he wasn't even trying. You know what I mean?
mhm, mhm.
He was just charming, and I believed his performance. I didn't, I believed that he was lost, and when they do the big reveal about how he got there,
Mhm,
I really, I was like, it surprised me in the movie, even though I read the book.
mhm.
Um, it's just very, very good performance by him that made me forget he was Ryan Gosling most of the time.
He's grown into his stardom so incredibly well.
Yeah.
I can recall it was around 2003, I think, when I first saw him. He was in a movie with Sandra Bullock called Murder by Numbers, and then
Mm-hmm.
after that, it was like Half Nelson and starting
Nelson.
to
Yeah.
really get bigger. And he early in his career, he was really going for this brooding intensity vibe, like he wanted to be Mr. Serious Actor. And
Yeah.
I think once he dropped that act, once he let go of that, he's become so much more comfortable on screen, and to the
Mm-hmm.
point where like uh, you combine elements of his early career intensity with the with something like the Fall Guy, and you get and his Saturday Night Live persona, like you get this performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I think like people. I remember when he was trying to, when he did Half Nelson and he did um the other one that he was. to be taken seriously from, and he was just Drive. That's what I'm trying to think of. And people started kind of making fun of him for, you're a Disney, you're a Mickey Mouse Club kid. Don't take yourself so seriously. And I think that's when he started doing SNL and started loosening up a little bit. And I think, he's become more of a movie star than an actor in some ways, but he can also act, so it's fine.
Yeah, I expect him fully to turn out one of these performances that's going to be in a surefire Academy Award winner. I can see that in him. It's a Tom Hanks quality in a way.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be in Philadelphia too. I just know
it. Philadelphia too. Electric AIDS Boogaloo.
Oh my god. Oh. No, it's Philadelphia too, the prep story.
Somehow AIDS returned.
No, it never went away, my friend, but or he could do what's the Forrest Gump sequel book where it's his son?
Oh God.
Gump and Co. or something like that. I don't know. Or he could be on a TV sequel of Booze and Buddies. Does Peter Scolari have a son?
Actually, Gosling looks a lot more like Scolari than he does Hanks.
Yeah. But he's got Hanks's charm.
That's true.
And this kind of Jimmy Stewart-ness.
Whereas Samara Weaving has stolen Margot Robbie's face.
I constantly got them mixed up for the longest time.
Right when she made the first Ready or Not, I thought sure that was
Margot Robbie.
I was convinced that was Margot Robbie.
Yeah, 100%. I saw that trailer. I was like, oh, God, Margot Robbie just must constantly just work and work and work. And then it was
where'd she find the time? She's been so busy this year. It's not fucking her. It's Samara Weaving. And they to their credit, they've leaned into that a little bit. They've done some press together that's been very funny, but it's hard to believe this movie, Ready or Not, came out in 2019. It's been 7 years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, especially since the Ready or Not, Here I Come is now out, and they start just immediately picking up the day after. And of course, Samara Weaving hasn't aged a day in 7 years. She just looks exactly the same and just as beautiful and just as ready to get this going. We start right there at the house burning down and her having a cigarette outside. She passes out. She wakes up in the hospital under arrest for the seeming murder of her relatively new family at her hands, burning down their whole, satanic thing. And now she's going to be thrown into a whole new game. Elijah Wood shows up and says that basically a new game is underway. And there's 6-7 families that are operating under the banner of Satan, who now vie for control of the world, very seriously for the control of the world, because we see David Cronenberg early in this movie playing one of the heads of the family, and he's watching the news and he sees a war going on. And he just picks up the phone and calls somebody and says, it's over now. Yeah. The war ends immediately. Which is, I thought that was a great touch. And anytime Cronenberg, you can see him, is fucking great. He's not there for long, though, because his kids need to put him out of his misery real fast, because otherwise he'd have to try and defend their family name to keep control of the universe. And well, he's an infirm, so he can't do it. Sean Atosi and Sarah Michelle Gellar are his kids, and they're going to fight these other families. And basically what they need to do is kill Samara Weaving. But there's a catch with that, because Grace has woken up and her sister Faith has arrived as her emergency contact. The two haven't spoken in years, and now they're back together. Kathryn Newton playing the sister Faith, and just killing it, just absolutely amazing. Just walks right in, immediate movie star, just immediate attitude, and just filling in so much backstory with just manner and a minimum of dialogue. Just establishes this character, who she is, what she's like, and how much you're going to enjoy watching her in this movie. They kept it simple, because I don't think I'm not a big fan of Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett as directors. I didn't love the little kid vampire movie they made. But both the Ready or Not movies, they kept it so simple that they make it work, and they've made this sequel work because they've just picked the right group of people to make this work.
Oh yeah, 100%. This has like the perfect cast for what it is. Um, you know, you believe that these two are sisters just based on, like, they look like they just picked up after being apart for years. They just picked it up. They just were. I think that when when those two hit, they really hit. And the Ready or Not movies, just perfection. I think they have a real like rapport with Samara Weaving, um, which is why they put her in Scream 6. And I think that she was actually supposed to be in Scream 5, but they couldn't make it work. Um, and I see them like I I hate to say it because it's such a good duology, but if they made a third one, I would be there on opening day because it was fun and they made it fun. And I think that the rapport that they have with the actors really worked. Yeah, I loved the first one. I thought the first one was great.
Oh yeah.
So you just did not expect them to explode and be Satan worshippers. You thought it was just let's fuck with the new girl, but
Yeah, the ramp up, just the continuing ramp up throughout that movie was just so great,
yeah.
and the way they smartly didn't give her one of those one of those injuries that makes it impossible for you to believe that she could have survived. That's one of my biggest
Yeah.
pet peeves about movies like this is that they'll give you an injury, they'll give the main character an injury. There's no possibility that they could have survived
Hmm.
and or had been able to fight anyone with. And
Yeah.
they avoid doing that here, which is smart. They avoided it for the most part in this movie as well. Interesting backstory on this: they were working on a horror film for Samara Weaving and Kathryn Newton to be in together with these two directors,
Mm.
and then they were approached with the idea of doing Ready or Not 2, and they said, "Hey, why don't we make this Ready or Not 2?"
Yeah, why not?
It worked out. To your point, I would absolutely see this again. And I was in my written review, I was actually comparing this to like a horror movie version of Knives Out, where you could take
Hmm.
this premise and just add in, new layers of new people have sold their soul to Satan, and here's the group of people now vying for control of the world, but they still have to kill Samara Weaving.
Yep. Yeah.
And she's
You know
like,
what?
I'm not playing this anymore. And like, well, sorry.
Grace the Vampire Slayer, that kind of, like living on a hellmouth or something.
just
Um,
just the most reluctant person to have to she sees the aftermath of this movie, and the world goes into pure chaos with nobody being in control of it, and she decides, okay, well, I'm gonna have to stop the next person who tries to take over.
exactly. Yeah, and that scene between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Samara Weaving, where Sarah Michelle Gellar, she could have just been acting, but you the way she played it, you didn't know which way she was going, and that made me think of Buffy, and then that made me think of Samara Weaving in a Buffy kind of thing, and
Mhm.
then you saying that, it's like, yeah, that I could see that. I could see like a almost an anthology movie where they're back and forth with different demons or something. So
Yeah, it's like it's like the Love Boat style casting, where you find the best character actors
yeah,
you can make into your evil ensemble, and come up with ways for her to escape and kill them.
yep.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a machine you could rebuild a dozen different times, a dozen different ways. Sadly, this movie didn't do very well at the box office, so I don't think there'll be another one, but
Yeah.
made less than
That's
10
too
million
bad.
over the weekend and just scraped into the top 5. So
No, that's too bad.
yeah, that's a bummer. I don't know why people didn't go see it. I thought it was fantastic.
People like they were laughing and they, like there were a couple screams in it. Aside from the lady who was in the 2 rows behind me and the person I went to see it with, talked in like throughout the entire movie. Just talk. And finally somebody stood up, turned back and said, "Would you shut the fuck up?" And she just got louder and yeah, it was like, but everybody seemed to really enjoy it, which they same with Project Hail Mary. They really got into that. And I'm just really, I'm glad that both movies that I saw this weekend were this good. 'Cause that doesn't usually happen. It's, usually one or the other.
My screening of Ready or Not 2 was hampered slightly by two people who were hitting very clearly hitting a marijuana vape.
Oh, nice.
It was not subtle, and I mean to the point where it smelled throughout the theater.
Oh my god.
And their repeated giggling, even when there wasn't anything to giggle at, just was kind of irritating.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't get back to critic screenings soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that it, didn't seem to suffer from sequelitis, where it was just less of the same.
Mhm.
So
No, they built a really good mousetrap, and they just keep putting the right bait into it. They can keep
yeah,
doing this forever.
yeah, I would watch it.
But much like this always happens to us. We get a good thing going, like Megan 2, and now this, and they won't give us any more. Bastards.
Yeah. Somebody said, and I don't know if this is true, but somebody said that they were working on like a not a series of movies or not a series of like a television series, but um made for streaming Peacock Megan movies. And I was like, well, okay, sure. I'll watch
Make it
Megan
a
run around.
make it a musical, and I'm in.
Oh God. Yeah, what song could she sing this time? But yeah, I really wish that this had done better so that we could, think about possibly seeing another one.
Yeah, casting another Ready or Not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
like
it,
you said,
there's a,
a
there's
Knives Out thing.
there's a rich idea there, but it's not gonna happen, unfortunately.
Mm.
All right, Jeff.
Okay.
Jumping now to our classic, The Game, directed by David Fincher, starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Remind people of The Game.
Well, Michael Douglas plays an executive who is kind of I'm gonna he's a little arrogant, but you can also see that he's dealing with stuff from his past internally. And he meets with his no account brother, played by Sean Penn, who is kind of he's kind of a ne'er-do-well and just kind of goes about his life having fun. And um he gives Michael Douglas it starts off as Michael Douglas's birthday, and Sean Penn gives him a gift. And he has to go and meet at this place and take all these tests. And then they say, sorry, you don't qualify for this. So while he seems pissed because a lot of other people seem to know what's going on and he doesn't, he just assumes that, okay, it's not going to happen. And he starts going about his life when all the shit starts to happen to him. And he doesn't realize that it's part of the game. People call it out that it's part of the game, but he doesn't seem to really believe it at first. And then the stuff escalates so much that he's like, there's just no way, and until it culminates at basically he restages his father's suicide after he kills his brother. Um, and surprise, he jumps off a building through breakaway glass onto a giant uh, bubble thing, whatever stuntmen jump into, and then surprise, it was all part of the game. All of the shit that he went through, which is like a lot, um, and it was just part of the game.
So what did you think of the game?
I had actually seen this years and years ago, but I didn't really remember much of it. I remembered I thought I remembered the end. But then as we get to the point where he's jumping off a building, I didn't remember that part. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm confusing it with something, because I didn't remember him jumping off the building to his death. Well, surprise,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't. Um, I, this was so Michael Douglas. It seemed more Michael Douglas than David Fincher to me.
Hmm.
Although this, I know that David Fincher was going to do this movie, and then he did Seven instead, first, because he got Brad Pitt, and I almost can see this with Brad Pitt now playing the Michael Douglas part, because he's of that age, and I I don't think it was one of Fincher's best. I think it's a very interesting movie, but I felt like it went a little too far at points to stretch credulity, for the audience anyway. Like he thinks this is all just happening to him because he's a douchebag and he's all these people. Then he realizes, no, it's the game, then it's not the game, and then it's the game, and then it's not the game, and it's just I wish he had believed that it wasn't the game, and I wish he had not really had many um, opportunities to realize and maybe think it was the game. Um,
Yeah.
Again, it's probably top 10 in my Fincher, but not top 5.
No, and he's stated that it's not his favorite of his work. He actually doesn't like the ending. He wanted a different ending. He didn't say quite what different ending he wanted. Like, I don't know if he necessarily wanted Michael Douglas to die at the end, but he definitely, this is not the ending that he sought. But he was saddled with it and ended up going with it. But he's talked about being a little bit disappointed in this film. And I think there's something to what you said about this being more of a Michael Douglas movie than a David Fincher movie. It kind of makes you wonder, not that Douglas was pulling the strings or anything, but just that the studio would prefer to have this be more of a star vehicle than a directorial one, because that's a little easier to sell marketing wise.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something to the idea of this being a Michael Douglas movie. There's something satisfying about watching bad things happen to Michael Douglas.
Yes.
He is like that quintessential overprivileged white man, and watching bad things happen to him feels a bit cathartic.
Yeah.
Oh no, the little white men are getting mad at me now. Um, but he does it so well, and one of the things he does well is he is so not sympathetic. He is not he doesn't let us in. We're not in his head. What we see is just this deeply, deeply lonely man dealing with his loneliness and having that loneliness reflected back to him, and having his life stripped away from him, and how he's kept the world at bay. And the thing I struggle with only is that, like, there's a good idea there. Like, it's almost like a saw trap. Like, the idea, like, not valuing your life enough and having to learn a lesson, go through trials and tribulations and physical danger to actually learn to appreciate your life way. It's like Saw, but um, just the idea that the world can stop just to accommodate teaching this white guy to appreciate his life. This rich white asshole, the entire world stops just to teach this one guy a lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
That premise is a little bit not unbelievable, I guess, because I mean, Elon Musk could probably play the game. He probably has the money to make it happen, but like it would take a great deal of money and time and effort, and it would inconvenience a lot of people who really would not want to have anything to do with this.
And we'd also have a lot of people who would puncture holes in that
oh, absolutely,
airbag at the end.
Oh man. But there's so many good ideas here, and again, Fincher is so great at exploring male loneliness. People don't really don't give him enough credit for his frame and the way he frames like a lead male characters by themselves, struggling with understanding their place in the world. There's sort of existential angst that they have. Like you can see it in Oppenheimer with Cillian Murphy. You can see it in Brad Pitt a little bit, but more Morgan Freeman, I guess, in Seven, in the scenes where he's by himself. Like men pondering their place in the universe and feeling small and insignificant versus the way the universe is coming at them, and also not having their having so enmeshed themselves in masculinity that they won't let anybody help them or be close to them. And Fincher, without ever talking about it, captures that brilliantly. And to use that on a Michael Douglas movie does elevate the idea a little bit beyond just being a Michael Douglas movie.
Yeah, I really like you said, seeing bad things happen to Michael Douglas. Not in real life.
Right, not in real life.
I don't wish him ill, but there's something to be said about him, in Fatal Attraction. Seeing Glenn Close just get the best of him all the way up until the end. Seeing this movie and, everybody is just out to get him and he's suicidal by the end of it. And you're like, okay, well, jump, bitch. I shouldn't say that because I actually was crossing the bridge yesterday and I saw a guy that they were talking down.
Oh God,
off the bridge. But it's like this is fiction. So
and also it's never billionaires are never in this situation. So
yeah.
I don't think I can try and think of the last time you had a billionaire kill himself. Just think about it.
Yeah. I was so. By the end of it, I was like, huh, he's not quite sympathetic, but he's almost to the point where like, oh no, I don't want him to jump.
But it's like they drilled down through the Michael Douglas of it all and found like the basic humanity beneath him.
Yeah.
And that's impressive considering that, you don't want to feel for him and he doesn't offer you the chance to feel for him. But they finally have pushed it to a place like he has this one weak point in his life where there's one person who can get to him, Sean Penn, his brother. And when he shoots him and he thinks he's killed him, like that's his last tether to humanity is gone. It makes sense where it ends up from there, with him trying to kill himself. Not so much the game than saying, "Oh no, it's okay, everything's fine. You're still a rich asshole. Don't worry about it."
Well, I think they're watching this. I think there's very few people who could like pull it off the way he pulls it off. Other people could play the role. But because it's a Michael Douglas and because you're so invested in the fact that he has played roles like this before where he is the asshole and the rich douchebag, I think that is one of the things that it has going for it the most. is that you got this, like, it's kind of like a built-in asshole.
It's a great way to deconstruct and make use of Michael Douglas's persona, which I think far too many directors don't think about who they've cast in their movie and how to use the way that they're cast. Um, I think like Glenn Jacobs is a good example who doesn't really have a persona on screen, and how what persona he does have, they keep trying to subvert it, and it's like lean into who he is, lean into what he does, and let him do that. That's what people want to see. And with this, then once you've established a personality that people recognize and are intrigued by, like Michael Douglas had, then you can drill down on it and do things with it, like this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would never I would never want to like necessarily see it remade, because I think now, billionaires are so unsympathetic for good
Everyone would
reason.
not be happy you survived.
Yeah. Um, I think that for its time, it does deserve the Criterion Collection treatment. But not. I don't. I guess it doesn't age well when you think of how billionaires are completely ruining the country and the world. So, but other than that, I think if you think of it as its time, it's actually a really good movie, just not one of Fincher's top tier.
I wonder if Fincher just what if his version of it, he really just wanted to keep torturing a millionaire, a billionaire.
I mean,
He just like my ending. Actually, he doesn't get everything back. He has to start all over again, pull himself up by his bootstraps.
Yeah. Make him work food service for a year or retail.
Well, let's see how you do, billionaire, with just your bootstraps.
You know the term pull yourself up by the bootstraps is an impossible thing.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's not something you can do.
Yeah.
Why anybody thought that was a great metaphor, I have no idea. I guess it's trying to convince you that you can do the impossible, but literally the word is impossible.
Mm-hmm. Oh. But yeah, let's not celebrate billionaires.
Yeah. There was this guy on YouTube a few years ago. He tried to do this thing where I'm going to go be homeless for a month, and I'm going to have to rebuild myself from the bottom up. He got 2 weeks into his little experiment. His father got sick and was maybe perhaps dying, and he quit. And it's like, hey man, like we couldn't do that at the bottom of the economic ladder. No matter, even if my dad is dying, I can't stop being, poor. Like if you want to mimic our experience, like come on, man.
Yeah, I've seen a couple, those reality shows where people try to get themselves into like situations like that, and it's just so cringe because you couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it. And
I mean, if you know at the end you can go back to your mansion after it's all over, what does it matter? You're not risking anything.
Yeah, it's not a real risk. So, what do we got next week?
Next week, it's weird and a bit thin, but there are 3 new movies. I mentioned the AI documentary that is coming out this weekend. There's also a documentary by Sofia Coppola about a fashion designer, Marc Jacobs. That's going to be in town this weekend. The big movie, from my perspective, I guess, is They Will Kill You. That's got the most, I've seen the trailer a bunch of times. It's got Zazie Beetz in the lead with a supporting cast that looks pretty spectacular. Heather Graham's in it. So I'm looking forward to that one. She's a a maid in a building that locks at night, and then she finds out that she's a human sacrifice. And there's one
Okay,
more
I've
movie.
seen it.
There's one more movie coming out that I've never heard of, and I don't know what's going on with this. Where did this come from? It's called Forbidden Fruits. It's directed by someone named Meredith Alloway. It's produced by Diablo Cody, which is a good thing. But I've no knowledge of this movie whatsoever. So this is the premise on Google, which yeah, you take that with a grain of salt. Google's terrible at telling people what movies are about, but uh, Free Eden is an employee. Free Eden is a company. Employee is named Apple, and she secretly runs a witchy femme cult in the basement of a mall store. When a new hire challenges their performative sisterhood, the women are forced to face their own poisons or succumb to a bloody fate. So I guess it's a horror film.
Mm.
I've never heard of this.
I have seen a couple, I think they're just supposed to be viral TikTok advertisements for it, but I've skipped over it because I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to watch this girl who looks like Dua Lipa. Then turns out it's not Dua Lipa, it's Lily Reinhart, who I actually like. But she just looks like Dua Lipa, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I just skip over it, flipping. But yeah, I mean, didn't think that would be something that we would get, quite honestly.
It's weird. Well, again, it comes back to that thing where they're not telling anybody that they're releasing these movies. They're not doing anything to advertise. The excuses is that they don't know, what the best market to advertise to is, which is not a good excuse. If you're a marketer, you should know these things. You should know where your audience is. It's not rocket science, guys. It's marketing. It's really just come up with a hook. I still say I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I have one conspiracy that I think feels so real to me, and that is the idea that movies are getting made for a specific budget amount. A lot of that budget is disappearing somewhere, and they don't care if the movie is successful at all. And the thing about it is that there was this thing in Canada in the 70s and 80s where Canada was offering these ridiculous tax breaks to make movies there, to get people to make movies there. And people would make entire movies they would never release and just keep all of the money.
Yeah.
They would, hey, we've got a $5 million budget. We're going to keep $4.5 million. We'll make the movie for $500,000 and then just never release it and cost us nothing. And I'm wondering now if this is the model, if it's the producers where we're just going to throw something out there, like we'll pretend to make a product, but it's not going to be a good product, and we don't care if anybody sees it. We're just going to run away with the money.
Yeah, basically just money laundering.
Yeah, I think movies have become money laundering.
I mean, I think a lot of them always have been. I mean, there's some movies, like there's movies for the rights, there's movies for money laundering. They're just not very many people make money for the art. And so I don't think I don't think that you're wrong that a lot of these are happening. But I think if a movie comes here, first of all, aside from like an Angel Studios or, a Bollywood movie, I feel like they tend to be made for a reason. They're like, we got bottoms. Who thought we were ever going to fucking get bottoms here? That is not a Quad Cities movie.
What a great movie, though.
Hilarious movie, but it is not something you ever, Yeah, I think that you're not wrong. I definitely have seen some movies since I, became a regular on this show that would fall under that.
I wish if we had an actual government, I would call for somebody to actually investigate Hollywood. I think especially since the hedge funds bought into the movie studios, and started smashing them all together like train toys. I I feel like they're just there to build tax shelters and steal money. That's my guess on it all. And I don't think there's anybody currently holding any of the accounting in Hollywood to any kind of scrutiny. Not that they have in the past, but certainly not now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, Jeff. Next week, you need to come up with a classic.
Yeah, I do, don't I? I'll think of something.
Whatever will you do?
I'll think of something by next Monday.
All right, cool.
Well, we'll have to see one or two of these movies and see what pops into my head.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Have a good night.